everyone. Welcome to the 2025 Launchmetrics Performance Summit, where we trade in mundane Zoom calls for thoughtful conversations about data and insights to building the brand strategies of tomorrow. I'm Carrie Crecca Maitoza. You might know me as Miss PR Piggy on Instagram, where I make memes about working in fashion PR, and I am thrilled to be your host today. So I know we're all so busy, and we thank you so much for carving out the time to be here with us today. We have an amazing lineup, which I'll get to shortly. But before we dive in, I'd love to introduce you to Alison Bringé, Chief Marketing Officer of Launchmetrics and a thought leader in brand performance strategy. Hey, Alison, welcome.
Hi, Carrie. So excited to be here, and we are even more thankful and excited to have you here. I have been secretly, well, not secretly because it's not private, but I have been following you for so long, and myself, like I guess many people joining, are kind of really excited to see like the lady behind the memes. Like so many days, especially during Fashion Week, opening up Instagram to see your hilarious posts. So really happy to have you here. And welcome back to those of you who have come before, and welcome to those of you who are here for the first time. This is our 5th annual performance summit. Just like I feel like time's flown by. But at Launchmetrics, we believe in empowering brands with software and data that they need to connect their strategy with their execution and succeed in today's ever-changing landscape. So that's what today's about, right? That's why we started Launchmetrics Performance Summit. We really want to bring together thought leaders, industry experts, innovators like yourself to help you rethink the strategies and build your brand strategies of tomorrow. This year, our theme focuses on performance, how brands can adapt, innovate, and thrive in a world where technology and data are reshaping internal processes and driving strategic decision making. Over the course of the day, we'll explore trends, actionable insights, as well as the challenges that we're anticipating in the world of fashion, luxury, and beauty. We have a great lineup, and my friend Carrie here is going to tell you a little bit about it and what you can expect.
Yes, we are going to go deep today with some discussions on, everything from PR dynamics to the latest TikTok trends. So whether you're here to explore analytics or figure out what is going to make your next campaign go viral, you're in the right place. So with that, and without further ado, let me share what we have on the agenda today. First, we're going to hear from the luxury goods analyst, Lucas Solka. He's a celebrity to PR people. Like, how many times have you read his name?
And how many times do you hope he's actually going to quote your brand's name when he's being interviewed?
Exactly. And Michael Jais, the CEO of Launchmetrics, with a fireside chat on what's driving performance in fashion. And then next, we're going to move into the world of PR and comms with Joelle Dietrich from Women's Wear Daily and a few PR powerhouses like Lucien Paget, Ben Cercio, and Lisa Frank from Darris, who will discuss how agencies are adapting right now.
I'm excited for the dynamic of that panel. For any of you that have worked with the three of them, it's like 3 very different personalities, very different strategists. So that will be a good one to watch.
Yes. And then we are shifting into publishing with a conversation with Condé Nast, which I know, Alison, you're very excited for.
Yes, for those of you that missed the agenda, that is the session I am moderating. So obviously you're going to stay on and wait for me to speak again, or you'll just come back because it's going to be obviously super interesting.
And then after that, Glossy, Estee Lauder, and TikTok will discuss the transformative power of social media in the beauty industry, and they will discuss virality and the rise of the creator economy. And then last but not least, we'll close out with a fireside chat between Lori Brookins of The Hollywood Reporter, Chris Massey from Universal Pictures, and Michael Jais to explore how celebrity culture has evolved.
Well, I hope you guys find the calendar or events of the day very versatile and interesting. We really took the time this year to think about all of the challenges that brands are going to be facing in 2025. You'll probably hear me or my colleagues or Michael talk a little bit about the voices. And it's funny, I think without knowing it too, the calendar for today or the agenda for today really hits on all of these different voices impacting the industry. 2024 was a crazy year. I feel like it went by in a blink. There were so many changes, so many shifts. Carrie, you have like a very interesting position too in the industry because you're a creator, but you also have your own consultancy business and you've been at the front row kind of all of these shifts and changes. What's one trend that's kind of caught your eye that you think I don't know is worth noting today?
Yeah, I mean, I could be totally aging myself with this answer, but I recently went to several events in a row in real life. And what I noticed was that there were hardly any editorial staffers in attendance. Like from the brand side, it was more about securing attendance of content creators. And, everyone was there with like, their hand at an angle, forward facing camera. Everyone was creating content at these events. And I think that was just a really stark change. Like I've been working in PR for almost 20 years now. And for so long, it's always been about getting that top tier editor attendance to anything your brand is doing. So that was just a huge change for me. And I saw it with my own eyes. And I think it's just kind of, marks a time where brands are sort of doing visibility differently. And it shows sort of like where their values are when it comes to publicity.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the question on everyone's mind is just what's the right strategy, right? So we did this report actually last year about Gen Z, or in the UK we say Gen Z. And in that report, it was all about, okay, how can brands address younger audiences? And of course, the content creator, the influencer, whatever you feel comfortable calling them, are the key voice in activating those audiences. And it was something, we touched on many examples of how over and over the strongest media impact value came from this voice to resonate with that consumer. So many different shifts, so many directions a brand can take in building their strategy. And, as you said, this kind of world has impacted the evolution of PR too. And agencies are actually having to take big risks or big shifts. Um,
Mhm.
you've worked in that field for a while. How do you think they're adapting to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we are just very much in an experimentation phase. And I don't necessarily think agencies can come out and say that out loud for fear of, losing clients or potential clients. But thankfully I can, which is nice. So I will own that right here and right now. I think it's okay to recognize that our industry is shifting faster than maybe it ever has before. At least in my 20 years working PR, this is like the biggest shift I've ever seen. But I think the silver lining to all of this is that PR people and comms teams are almost like inherently adaptable. It's just part of the job. So I think that is going to serve us very well through all these changes. And I think it's a really like a great time to kind of just fall back on your data as a foundation for building brand strategy, but then like leaving lots of room for experimentation and creative ideas because we really are carving out the new normal right now. So it requires that creativity and experimentation to get there. And I had an old boss actually that always used to say, like, it's half science, half feeling. And I love that motto. And I just always kind of like hung on to it. And I just think it like applies more right now, more than ever before.
I think you're totally right. There's so much noise to cut through, and it's hard to know what cuts through that noise. With that, we have my session on publishing. What about that? What about publishers? Do you think traditional media still has the power it had, that same impact in this world saturated with influencers?
I mean, I don't necessarily think it has the same impact. However, I still think that traditional media has a place and is still very important. It's almost like baseline at this point. It's like you kind of, it's like we have to remember that these traditional media outlets that we know and love today have built their brand over decades. And and it's cemented in our minds, like what it means to have a placement in Vogue, for example. And I think for brands who are, especially brands that are starting out, these types of placements are going to help them in retail opportunities and sales. So I think it's still very important. There's a credibility and a prestige that clients still aspire to and want. So it's still very much alive, I think.
And what about celebrities? What's their power today?
I mean, again, I think it's similar in the sense that it has just changed so much. Like when I was coming up in PR, it was like one red carpet mention could turn an unknown brand into an overnight success. And, obviously we're very far away from that at this point. And I think, celebrities are still, it still matters. It's still very important. It's still going to do something. But I think it's kind of more about really understanding who you are as a brand, where your values lie, and figuring out like what that right mix of tactics are and who are the voices that are really going to add to your positioning in the marketplace that is very saturated. So it's just about that mix of tactics and kind of like remaining true to your values, whether that includes celebrity or not.
I think that's great advice. And really, that's what today is about, right? Helping give people attending actionable insights, fresh perspectives, the right tools and strategies to stay focused. So I think you said it well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely all about experimentation right now, prioritizing the authentic connections with an audience. And as PR people, keeping the lines of communication open with your trusted media partners. I think that is super important to moving forward together. And with that, we hope that you will leave here inspired and might come away with a few new ideas for your strategies. And, we'd love for you to engage throughout the day, ask questions, take notes. Don't be afraid to slide into the Q&A box with your hot takes. And if you're tweeting, don't forget to use the hashtag Performance Summit 2025.
And with that, as Carrie said, we'd love for you guys to share your questions, and we are going to share some questions with you. Throughout the day, Launchmetrics will be releasing some different polls and questions about the world of AI. Sneak peek, we are launching an AI report this April because 2025 won't be complete without topics around AI, and we want to hear how you're working in the field, what you want to know, what you don't know. So look out and please share your insights. And Carrie, thank you again for joining. So excited to kick this off. So excited to see the rest of the day.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was so fun. Okay, everyone, grab your coffee, settle in, and let's get the summit started.
All right. See you guys later.